All right, so get this. Today's deep dive, we're diving headfirst into a story wilder than any spy movie. Exploding pagers in Lebanon. Pagers. Exploding. And get this, in 2024. You can't make this stuff up.
It's like someone hit rewind on the Cold War, but with a very modern, very unsettling twist. And the deeper you go, the stranger it gets. Covert ops, global supply chains, you name it.
Oh, this is serious high-stakes stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're pulling back the curtain on an event that sent shockwaves through Hezbollah, exposed just how vulnerable we all are in this interconnected world, and frankly left everyone wondering, what's next?
No.
We've got our intel from Wikipedia, Al Jazeera, and AP News, so buckle up because we're going beyond the headlines to connect the dots. This isn't just about what happened, but why it matters to you and me.
Absolutely. This wasn't just an attack. It was a message, loud and clear. But before we unpack all that, let's set the scene. Picture this. September 17th, 2024. Thousands of Hezbollah operatives in Lebanon and Syria, they're going about their day, relying on their pagers, for secure communication, when suddenly, boom, their supposedly secure devices turn into mini-bombs.
Wait, hold up. Thousands of them. All at once. We're talking about a massive coordinated attack here.
Oh, absolutely. A coordinated strike on a scale they weren't prepared for. But hold on, it gets even crazier. As if to rub salt in the wound, the very next day, another wave of explosions, this time targeting their walkie-talkies. The casualties were significant. Dozens killed, thousands injured. This was a devastating blow, not just to their operations, but to their entire sense of security.
Okay, gotta admit, the whole pager thing, it's almost comical, right? Like, who even uses pagers anymore, let alone as weapons in this day and age?
Right. It sounds like something out of a bad 90s action flick. But that's where it gets really interesting. You see, earlier this year, Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, he was worried about Israeli surveillance, so he urged his followers to ditch their cell phones.
Right, I remember that. Back to basics, he called it. Simpler, more secure tech. Like he was trying to outsmart the modern world by, well, going back in time.
Exactly. He thought by going low-tech, they'd be off the grid, invisible. Little did he know, this decision would come back to bite them big time.
Because someone was watching, weren't they? Someone who saw an opportunity in this so-called secure setup.
And they had the resources, the knowledge, to turn those seemingly harmless devices into instruments of chaos.
All right, so how'd they do it? Are we talking some high-level hacking? A software glitch? I mean, how do you even turn a pager into a bomb?
Well, according to intelligence reports, and the AP covered this extensively, it wasn't some remote hack. This was far more intricate, far more audacious. We're talking pre-planted explosives, carefully concealed within the pagers themselves.
Hold on, so someone actually got a hold of these pagers and rigged them to explode?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking serious access, meticulous planning, maybe even help from the inside. This wasn't some random act of vandalism. This was a meticulously planned operation.
Exactly. This level of sophistication, the scale of it all, points to a state actor. And all signs point to Israel. Remember, Hezbollah had taken steps to tighten their security, even setting up their own phone network. Pulling off something like this, well, it takes the kind of resources only a state could muster.
Okay, my head's spinning a little bit. We've got exploding pagers, suspected state-sponsored espionage, and a militant group caught completely off guard. This is some serious spy thriller stuff. Okay, but let's back up for a second. How did we even get here? I mean, pagers, really. Who's supplying Hezbollah with what's basically ancient tech in 2024?
That's where this whole thing takes another wild turn. Turns out those pagers, they could be traced back to a company in Taiwan called Gold Apollo, at least according to investigations by Al Jazeera and the AP.
Gold Apollo? Sounds like the name of a Bond villain's yacht. Okay, so what's the catch?
Well, Gold Apollo claimed they had a licensing deal with another company, BAC Consulting, based out of Hungary. They said BAC was making the pagers, but, and this is where it gets interesting.
Let me guess. BAC Consulting is about as real as a unicorn riding a dragon.
Bingo. Turns out BAC was a phantom, a shell company. And get this, a New York Times piece mentioned in that Wikipedia article, it suggested a link between this fake company and, you guessed it, Israeli intelligence.
Whoa, are you serious? So let me get this straight. We have this fake company potentially working with the Israeli government, funneling rigged pagers to Hezbollah. This is some top-level spycraft. Okay,
Right.
So we've got the how, but the bigger question is why? What was the end game here? What were they hoping to accomplish?
You hit the nail on the head. Understanding the motivation is key here. At first glance, yeah, it seems pretty straightforward. Disrupt their communication, cause some chaos, inflict some casualties, right? But I think it goes deeper than that.
All right, I'm all ears. What else is going on here?
Well, some analysts over at The Economist and CNN, they're quoted in the Wikipedia article too, and they suggest this whole operation was about sending a message as much as it was about inflicting damage. Think about it. Hezbollah intentionally went old school with their tech, figuring it'd make them less vulnerable. This attack, it completely shattered that illusion.
So it was a psychological blow as much as anything.
Absolutely. It's Israel flexing their muscles, showing they can reach Hezbollah anytime, anywhere, even with the most basic tech, basically saying you're never really safe. And that message, that resonates far beyond just Hezbollah.
Man, that's a chilling thought. If something as simple as a pager can be turned into a weapon, what does that say about our reliance on technology? Our phones, computers, even our cars are connected these days. It's like we're all just walking targets.
That's the unsettling reality this whole situation exposes.
It really makes you think twice about every notification, every text, right?
Yeah.
What we see as tools, as connections, could actually be vulnerabilities just waiting to be exploited.
It's a scary thought, for sure, but a necessary one. And if we focus back on Hezbollah, there's another layer to this message that's worth exploring. See, by hitting their communication network, Israel might have been trying to plant seeds of doubt, create paranoia within the organization itself.
Classic divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Right? If they can't even trust their own equipment, their own communications, how can they function effectively?
Exactly. Imagine the suspicion, the distress that must spread through their ranks after those explosions. Suddenly, every device, every message becomes a potential threat. That kind of internal pressure, it can be just as destructive as any bomb.
It's like a digital Trojan horse, isn't it? They thought they were getting something safe, something secure, but it was actually designed to bring about their downfall.
That's a chilling but accurate way to put it. And let's not forget the most tragic aspect of this whole thing, the human cost. All the reports, they talk about the civilian casualties, even children caught in the crossfire.
It's easy to get lost in the spycraft, the intrigue, but at the end of the day, lives were lost, families were shattered. It's a grim reminder that these shadowy conflicts, they have very real consequences.
And it forces us to confront some really tough questions about the use of force, especially when innocent people get caught in the middle. These are complex issues with no easy answers, but they're issues we need to keep talking about.
This deep dive, it's been a wild ride, to say the least. We started with exploding pagers, a story so bizarre you'd think it was straight out of Hollywood.
Yeah.
But as we peeled back the layers, we found ourselves in a world of state-sponsored espionage, technological vulnerabilities, and the very human cost of conflict in this digital age.
It really highlights the shifting landscape we're all living in. It's a reminder that even the most commonplace technology can be turned against us.
And maybe the biggest takeaway here is that the lines between war and peace, between the digital world and the real world, they're blurring more and more every day. It's a dangerous, unpredictable world out there. The best thing we can do is stay informed, stay vigilant, and never stop questioning.
Couldn't agree more, because in many ways, the future is as uncertain as this whole pager situation. And sometimes, knowledge, awareness, that's our best defense.